Hello everyone and welcome back to Combe Campers. Today we're going to be talking about sound deadening and insulating your camper van. So the internet is absolutely rife with so many different people giving you advice and giving you examples of what to use and where to apply insulation or sound deadening into your van. But today what we're going to discuss is how I carry out sound deadening and insulation on camper vans that we build here at Combe Campers. When it comes down to sound deadening and insulation, the sky's the absolute limit. Lots of different people out there providing lots of different products, all at different price ranges. What I supply and fit to our customers is a set of products from deadening.co.uk, and my mates over there have been good enough to supply all the bits and pieces we need to fit out this van today. This is a short wheelbase T5.1, it's a 2004, and it's having just sort of a day van makeover, and we're going to go over a couple of those bits and pieces with you on another video. But today we're going to concentrate on what we use to actually give you a good level of sound deadening and insulation for either cold winter nights or keeping the van cool in the summer and nice and warm in the winter for you. So the insulation that was used in the past will actually settle over time. The older vehicles you'll be playing with or that you own, maybe 30, 40, 50 years old, and they've all got 30, 40, 50-year-old insulation as well. And that insulation in the side panels especially, and in the doors and boot and everything else, over time sort of falls down to the actual lower part of the panel. And when condensation or water sits at that lower part of the panel also, the insulation soaks that water up. So if you want to redo the insulation and sound deadening in your vehicle, I would suggest a sound deadening or insulation product that doesn't soak up water, and we'll go into that as well. But if you do have the opportunity to get into the inside of your van, the insides of the panels and everything else, as soon as you can, tear out that old insulation, because all it's going to do is soak up water and then rust out the bottom of your panels. And you'll see it on a lot of camper vans that all of the bottom of the panels where the insulation is sitting, either behind the fridge or beneath windows, is just rotted out, because that insulation is just holding that water down there, and it's not good for just the life of your vehicle really, and its insulative properties would have just stopped working almost, just due to its age as well. I get asked all the time, what products do I use to insulate my van? Now, I continuously use just 3 products for the insides of the vehicle, and they've proven to be really good to keep the noise down in the car and heat in, and also the warmth out on a hot day, so you can keep the van nice and cool. The first layer is this 2mm sound deadening from Silent Coat. Now, it's really easy to use. It's self-adhesive, so you just peel the backing, stick it down, and the difference it makes in the panel boom and the actual panel resonating when you're driving is absolutely incredible. You can really bring the decibel level right down just by fitting this to the panels of your vehicle. Now, if you were to strip a vehicle like this, a T5 short wheelbase or long wheelbase, or even the T4, what you'll notice is when you strip the inside of your vehicle, you'll notice that VW or whichever manufacturer van you have will have a basic layer of sound deadening against each panel of the van. You'll notice little token pieces on just the larger flat panels, and that does help straight from the factory keep that panel boom down to a minimum. We're just improving on that, and you can tell the difference almost immediately when you just tap the panel. You'll notice it when you close the actual doors and the boot to your car as well. There's not a twang when you close it, it's a nice thunk, sounds just like a Golf. So that is the sound deadening. You can apply it on all metal areas. So as you can see, we've made a start on the inside of this van. We've put it on all the sides, we've put it up on these panels in the boot, and what we're going to do is actually cover the arches, show you how we go about doing that. So it's quite a long job. You know, it will take you a good day, day and a half to make a really good, thorough job of doing this, especially if it's your first time and you're getting used to it. But the squares inside the panel and the fact that it's self-adhesive does actually make it quite a quick and easy task. It cuts just with a blade, or if you get a pair of scissors, you can just cut it out to shape. It's pretty simple. The next layer we're going to go with is the Thermo van liner. Again, this is from the guys at deadening.co.uk. This is supplied in a 10-metre roll, and it's actually a closed cell foam. And it's got the surface, the reflective surface on the top as well, so any heat generated inside the vehicle will get bounced back in as well. It acts as a sound deadener and an insulator as well. Just like the sound deadener I showed you before, this stuff is self-adhesive. It's actually really, really sticky. Once you get this on somewhere, you're not getting it back off again. So make sure when you're fitting it, you cut out the shape to fit first before you actually start peeling off any backing. Because once it's stuck fast. We spoke before about how insulation of old used to soak up water. It's actually a waterproof membrane here. So it acts not only as a waterproof membrane, but as an insulator and a sound deadener as well. It's excellent stuff. It's fairly cost effective. It's not the most expensive insulator out there, and it's not the cheapest also, so you know you're getting a good product. I absolutely swear by this stuff. And if you're on more of a budget, you can just go for those 2 layers and you can have a much warmer than stock camper van. Straight off. You just add those 2 layers. If you want to make it suitable for most seasons we get in this country, go ahead and add the Thermo Fleece. Now, believe it or not, despite what it feels like, that's actually recycled plastic bottles, and you'll know it because sometimes in the odd roll you might get a hard bit of plastic or even the thread of the top of the bottle. It's quite funny when you get those bits and pieces in there, but it's really, really good at filling in the large voids of your van. Again, we'll go through this later, but it's really, really good in the boot, in the lower side panels. But what you'll notice is it's a little too thick just to go in the roof and in the top sections. So what Dodomat have just released is a half thickness Dodomat Thermo Fleece, and it's because of people like me and other camper van builders out there have actually got back to Dodomat and said, your product is brilliant, we just need some a bit thinner because we can't put it in all the other cavities. So if you were to buy a 7-metre roll of this thicker stuff and then a 7-metre roll of the thinner Dodo Fleece, that will completely cover the likes of a short wheelbase or long wheelbase T5. When it comes to putting the sound deadening and insulation on the floor, I would recommend still using the 2mm sound deadener, and the next is their super liner as well. Now, it's very similar properties to the Thermo van liner, but because it doesn't have that reflective outer layer, this actually conforms really, really nicely to the grooves in the floor. I've found when using this in the past that when you screw down a wooden camper van floor straight on top of that, it can make the floor move a little. Whereas if you could want to screw directly on top of this, this actually squishes down really, really flat, conforms nicely to all the grooves in the floor, and you'll get a nice solid insulated floor when you put that stuff on top of the sound deadening. So they're all the bits we use. I'll list all the products and where to get them down below in the description, and next stage is fitting these products and showing you how it all works. What we're going to do today with you guys is tear out this floor, clean it out. We'll just give it a sweep out and wipe down, because when you're sticking this stuff to any panels, you've got to make sure it's super clean. No dirt, no grease, anything like that, no dust. It just makes for a better application, and it will guarantee that it stays there. You'll see anyway in a minute that once it's stuck, it's stuck. It's really tough to get back off again, but that's really good. So yeah, I guess we'll smash straight on with it. What you're going to need to fit this to your van: tape measure to measure the area that you're trying to fit it to if needs be, a pair of scissors, a knife, a Sharpie or some other sort of marker if you need to, and either a screwdriver or another tool with a nice rounded end so you can contour your material into the grooves of the van. Now you can use the back end of your scissors to do it, that's always quite effective, or the back end of the screwdriver, just anything that may help you do that. I'm going to start from this top end. Obviously we're trying to form the sound deadening round sort of 3 curves here, so we're just going to do it in strips really. It doesn't matter how it looks when you've done. If you were to just slap the whole panel on like that and try and fit it, you get lots of ripples and creases and everything else, and the finish won't be that great. We're trying to get a smooth finish and cover all the area at the same time. So for this part, I'm actually just going to cut it in strips. make it a little easier to apply. Okay, so if you find you have ripples, which is likely because you're trying to put this stuff around curves, just slice out a triangle to stop that ripple from getting too big. You can always offer that back up. If you're keen on putting just one whole panel down and then playing around with that and forming it, of course you can do that too. One quick note actually, on a colder day, and it even says it on the box, that you may need to heat it just slightly just to activate the glue and to just to warm up the actual material so it forms better around whatever you're sticking to. So any temperatures below 10 degrees if you're doing this in the winter as your winter project. I would advise either a hairdryer or a heat gun. You can pick them up at most hardware stores. So you wave the heat gun over the material that you're sticking down to the metal, and then maybe just wave the heat gun over the area you're sticking to as well. The whole panel of insulation on this bit, stuck it on straight at the top and let it sort of drop down because I knew I was going to get the ripples in it. I sliced the bottom half into strips, much like we did over here, but sliced the bottom half into strips, then laid one over each other and then just cut off the excess in between that. So I'm just going to continue to fill in all the gaps now. Oh, another quick note, save your excess bits, save your scraps. We've got a whole box full of scraps over there because it's very good for just sort of filling in any last bits that you may need to. Now that's all done, you can see that pretty much every square inch is covered on it. It's a bit bitty, so there's fill-in spots all around, but I was trying to show you different ways that you can apply this to the wheel arch. I much prefer doing it in this way, so you put a whole piece on and then sort of slice it. It's an effective use of the material, and you get to stick whole pieces down at a time. But once it's all on, and then once it's carpeted as well, you can still see we're going to get some of the contours in there. And when you lay down the four-way stretch carpet that we're going to be using later, it does hide a multitude of sins, so any sort of real imperfections or any lumps and bumps, it does get hidden in the carpet. But if I knock that side, and then I knock that side, you can actually, you can hear the difference straight away in the panels. And these will be the same. If knocking that, you can hear the difference in how much they boom and how much road noise you can actually get. So if you choose not to cover that wheel arch in sound deadening, then so be it. I actually prefer to. It keeps the road noise down in the back of the van. What we're going to move on to next is covering this panel and this panel here in the next layer of insulation, and then we'll finish off with the Thermo Fleece. The next layer we're going to put on is the Thermo van liner. It comes in a 10-metre roll, and if you use it right, you can pretty much cover the whole van with it. We're going to be putting it on the side panels, on the ceiling, and in all the door panels as well. What we're trying to achieve is covering as much of that panel as possible, and the panel does actually go like another 6, 7, 8 inches down into that back pillar for a start. You can see the end here right down there, and probably about another 3 inches, 4 inches above this line as well. So we're going to just take a quick measurement. I'm going to take it just to this line, so 65, and then at its deepest point I'm going to call it 70. So a 65 by 70 square. First thing I'm going to do, probably just going to slice it straight down here, and then I'll cut off the bit that I need, just about there. Instead of struggling with one huge bit, you can always slice it again into two separate bits. So what I'm probably going to do now is just slice it down there and just make a rough sort of wheel arch size cut down here, and then we can attempt to slot that one in as a trial. So I haven't peeled any backing off yet, just to give it a trial fit to see how well it goes in. And that, I don't think I want to do any more with that, so I'm just going to peel it off, stick her in. Do half at a time, much like you might see some vinyl fitters do. If I stick the whole lot down and the whole lot gets stuck, then I've lost just one whole piece. There you go, I'm happy with that position. I'm going to stick the bottom in now. Peel the top off. Push it all the way home. It's up to you now. It's that piece there, I know how high I'm going. And now I'm going to have to, I'll probably carry on that cut there. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, you just cover up as much as you can. So that didn't go in because that wheel arch cut wasn't deep enough. Give that cut there, give it another trial fit. That's loads better. And what I'm noticing here is I've got this metal panel cutting in about there. If I cut a slice in it, like that. There you go, that's all fitting in there really lovely. There you go, nice and uniform and even already. It's making a massive difference in the sound and the insulating properties as well. That one are now done in terms of that first and second layer of sound deadening and insulation. For all of the other panels, it's absolutely the same application. Cut to fit, measure, peel and stick. It's really not that difficult, it's just time consuming. And getting the right gear makes all the difference as well. Yes, this may not be the cheapest stuff, but it works so well and it's so easy to apply. For somebody like me who does this every day, it's really, really good. You can just bosh them out, but be safe in the knowledge as well that it's very, very good equipment and will keep your van quiet and warm at the same time. For this section, we're going to put the Thermo Fleece. Super satisfying. Okay, once it's unpacked, it expands quite nicely as well. You can just sort of see the thickness of this here. It's really, really nice. You can stuff it in all the cavities, and even places like this. So I know in this van in particular it's got the seat belts there, but on a van without rear seat belts you can just sort of stuff it in those cavities as well. So this layer for this section, and then we're going to go to the thinner stuff on that one. This is a little more forgiving. You can stuff it so your measurements can be even, a little bit more loose. I'm just going to offer this up and cut it. Simple as that. She's in there. Now if you want a bit more, I guess, security to make sure that doesn't fall out, and we'll be doing it on these ones, you can actually just put a bit of spray adhesive on the back of them. There's actually 14 metres of this thinner material in here. So you'll have plenty to do your vehicle. We will apply this thin stuff to this panel, the opposite panel, and in all of these roof sections as well. So yeah, super happy with that. And this is brand new. We're one of the first people to get this, to test it, show it to you guys. In order to hold that up, I'm just going to use a bit of the high temp spray adhesive. You've seen this before on one of our other videos, a high temperature spray adhesive. Going to do a very, very light coat. If I was doing more of it, I'll mask up and everything else, but very light coat there, very light coat there, just to hold it in place. The ply panel will hold it in place permanently, but just to keep that in there for the time being, just throw it on like that. And that's it. Very easy. You can all do it. It's just choosing the right gear to do it with. I will continue to do that on the whole van, but for basically this video, I think that's all we're going to need to do. Sound deadening on all the metal areas, outside metal areas. I won't be sound deadening these parts here because this will all be covered in ply. And all these areas here will be covered in carpet. So it's not every square inch. You'd take forever doing it and it cost you an absolute fortune if you were to cover literally every square inch. So the areas you need to concentrate on are the outside walls, or the areas that are going to get most road noise, such as the floor, the wheel arches, the side panels, the roof, the door panels, things like that. Second layer is the van liner. Again, all the outside walls. You could put it on this wheel arch as well. But you might find that you wouldn't get the finish you require when it comes to carpeting. I'm not going to be doing that. And then the final layer is the Thermo Fleece, the recycled plastic bottles. It's all waterproof stuff. It's not going to soak up water. This is actually recycled plastic bottles. Now we're using the thinner section, whereas before we couldn't get this. So if we wanted to put some of this up here, we'd have to spend time ripping a layer off, which just got messy and didn't look great. So that looks absolutely brilliant. Just want to say a huge thank you to the guys at deadening.co.uk. They supplied everything today for insulating and sound deadening this van. Take a look at their website. They will have something for your car, your camper van or motorhome. Thank you very much.